Hello and welcome to Conservation Conversations. I'm your host, Deja Smith, TLC's Community Engagement Associate. In the wake of the rapidly changing COVID-19 pandemic, we hope that you are taking care of yourselves. To continue to connect with you while also practicing social distancing, TLC launched its virtual series, Conservation Conversations, in March. Every Wednesday evening, we host speakers who share information about the work they are doing to make the Triangle a healthier and more vibrant region. You will have an opportunity to connect with the speaker through the Q&A section, and while we hope to answer most of your questions, we may not be able to answer all of them. Please take a moment to locate the Q&A button on the bottom of your screen. Please submit your questions through this feature. You may also send us questions via email to advancement@triangleland.org. Please note that TLC staff and guest speakers are logging in remotely, so bear with us as the internet might be slower than normal. You may also hear an occasional dog bark or cats meow, children, partners, or roommates' voices. TLC was founded in 1983 by a group of dedicated citizens who are concerned about balancing growth and conservation of open space in the Triangle region. Together with thousands of members, we've protected over 20,000 acres of land and 141 miles of stream across Wake, Orange, Durham, Johnson, Lee, and Chatham counties. Spread throughout this region, TLC operates 6 public nature preserves, as well as 1 private preserve and 1 on the way. 2 of those preserves, Brumley Forest and Irvin Farm, host programs offered by our speakers tonight, Marty Jorgensen from Schoolhouse of Wonder and Wendy Banning from Learning Outside. Schoolhouse of Wonder hosts their Orange County classes at Brumley Forest, a 613-acre preserve located in western Orange County. Since 2009, Irvin has been the home to Learning Outside, a nature-based program offering students the opportunity to interact with nature in meaningful ways. Irvin is also home to another TLC partner, Transplanting Traditions Community Farm, a vocational agricultural program that works to build economically viable, environmentally sound, and socially sustainable local agricultural business opportunities for refugees. TLC strives to create a healthier and more vibrant Triangle region by safeguarding clean water, protecting natural habitats, supporting local farms and food, and connecting people with nature through land protection and stewardship, catalyzing community action and collaboration. Our work is possible because of the support of members like you and our sponsors. Joining us today are Wendy Banning, Executive Director at Learning Outside, Marty Jorgensen, Program Director of Schoolhouse of Wonder, and Elicia Senff, TLC's current AmeriCorps member. I'm pleased to begin tonight's program with Elicia Senff, our AmeriCorps member. Elicia was born in Charlotte, raised in Raleigh, and attended college in Wilmington. Having lived all over North Carolina, she has gained an appreciation for the ecological diversity and recreational opportunities the state provides. She graduated with a degree in geography from UNC Wilmington, where she also worked as a trip lead for the Department of Campus Recreation. She enjoyed connecting people with nature and helping them expand their comfort zones. Elicia spent the next summer working as a recreation coordinator for the Yellowstone Co-op Employee Recreation Program before joining the SPCA of Wake County. Throughout her career and volunteer experiences, it became apparent to Elicia that environmental education not only benefits our ecosystems, but serves the people in our community as well. Elicia, the floor is now yours.
Hi, thank you. So I'm gonna take you through some of our programs and socially distant activities that you can do while we're all socially isolating. But before I do, I think it's important to briefly explain what environmental education is and maybe dispel some common myths. So, environmental education is made up of several components that when put together create a really long definition. It starts with a process. So environmental education is a lifelong learning process that increases knowledge and awareness about the environment, its challenges, and the socioeconomic factors that influence it. It provides the tools and practice for people to take informed action, influences attitudes, and fosters concern for the environment, and it motivates people to take action. This isn't just a definition that TLC came up with. It was actually 300 government officials from around the world. They gathered to create the framework, principles, and guidelines for environmental education, the goal being a global standard. And you might be thinking, that looks a lot like environmental advocacy. but it's not. The purpose of environmental education isn't to support a specific cause or give you a biased opinion. It's about giving you the information of both sides of the argument and the skills you need to make your own informed decision. So why is environmental education important to TLC and those 300 government officials? Well, it turns out that it has a multitude of benefits. Regarding students, studies have seen an increase in physical health, academic performance, mental well-being, and behavior and social interactions. Part of this is because you're getting them outside, which has a whole host of benefits on its own, and the other is that the lessons are engaging and therefore more effective. Environmental education also provides relevance to their studies because it's a pretty holistic subject. Our environment plays a role in economic issues, wildlife resources, human health, etc. It's also really easy to tie into the core curriculum because you can make math problems based off of animal populations, write poems about trees, all of that. It makes it a pretty versatile vehicle, but despite that, we don't really see it being used in that way. It's sort of considered an elective, and we see that environmental education gets pushed to the side, especially at schools with limited resources. So that's where TLC comes in. We provide nature programming with the goal of fostering positive experiences in nature and making the outdoors accessible for everyone. And we do this in 3 major ways. First, our programming is free and sort of gets rid of that barrier to entry. Secondly, we provide programs to the public and with partner organizations that might not otherwise have access. And the third is that we engage in community science. Our programs take place all around the triangle in these 6 counties that you see here on our map. We try our best to get the people that we partner with out to our preserves, but that isn't always possible. So we do a mix of classroom-based programs and field trips. One example of our public programs is our Get Wild. You may be familiar with it. It's our monthly family program with activities geared towards ages 5 and up. Each month is a different topic. What you see here is a picture from our Get Wild at Swift Creek Bluffs. It was a stream studies. They tend to be a big hit because you get to play in the water while you search for different critters. But at the same time, they're learning about how the forest affects water quality, how to use macroinvertebrates as an indicator of water quality, species identification, and the basis of conducting scientific studies. But it's sort of wrapped up in this really fun envelope, which again makes it more effective. Another example of our public programs are our guided hikes, which are either led by us, our partners, or our wonderful volunteers. These generally appeal more towards adults, but we make the material that we're teaching accessible to all ages. The topics for these also vary every month. We lead walks that focus on the history and features of our preserves, birding, plant identification, art, physical health. If you can do it outside, we probably lead a program on it. Our goal is just to provide a multitude of ways to connect people with nature and get a little closer to the land that they're living on and a better understanding. For our partner programs, we partner with a variety of organizations. We do it with schools, after-school groups, scout groups, libraries, and other nature-based organizations, some of which you'll hear from today. Each of these organizations has a different need and different goals, so our engagement looks different for each. Partners for Youth Organization and Durham 4-H, for example, are really focused on providing professional development opportunities for their students. So our programs for them always have a stewardship or volunteer component. This is a picture from a program we did with them last year. We partnered with Triangle Off-Road Cyclists for this event. So they brought mountain bikes, and for half of the day, the kids got to go mountain biking on the trails at Brumley, and the other half we were building and installing bird boxes. Durham Academy, Carolina Friends School, and various scout groups also partner with us for stewardship opportunities. This is Durham Academy at Johnston Mill doing some work. Another version of our partner programs look like this, with students delving into a specific topic or going on an explorative hike. This is from a program with the Brentwood Boys and Girls Club where they came to Swift Creek, they did an explorative hike, and then had a reflection activity afterwards. Occasionally, we'll also partner with Catawba Trails Farm and bring the students there to engage them in agricultural education and connect them with local farms and food. Community science is the last major way that we provide environmental education. They're a really great opportunity to gain valuable skills and contribute to scientific studies happening all over the world. They're also really great for doing at home. We have about 8 projects that we contribute to regularly, but I'm going to focus on the remote opportunities that you can do at home or while you're visiting a preserve. The first is eBird, which is a project that catalogs bird sightings all over the world. And they also have a sister app called Merlin, which is really great for beginner birders because it'll help you identify the bird you're looking at through various questions such as its size, its color, and sort of help you narrow it down. And then you just enter how many you saw, input your location, and submit your findings. iNaturalist is another one. It's pretty popular, so you've probably heard of it. It's similar, but you're not just cataloging birds, you're submitting observations for any plant or animal that you find. Likewise, it's really helpful for identifying organisms because other users can give you suggestions. If you visit one of our preserves, Brumley I know is like a hot spot. So if you go there, you take pictures, or you can just look through what other people have taken and maybe identify some plants on your own. Lastly, we contribute to HerpMapper, which records reptile and amphibian observations. So another easy thing that you can do in your front yard or at a park. So what are some other socially distant activities? Well, we currently aren't hosting any in-person programs right now, but we do have a few opportunities to keep you entertained and learning at home. The first one is the one you're listening to, and that is our conservation conversation, sorry. We also have our hiking challenge for those who are healthy enough to visit our preserves. The goal is that you hike 6 of our preserves within a year, and then you get this patch that you see on the screen, as well as a prize pack. We have several public preserves with over 35 miles of trails, so the options are close to limitless. The second is our Triangle Explorer, which we just released last week. This one is a 2-month challenge for families with kids ages K through 5. Each week, we'll be posting a virtual badge with associated activities, and each week is a new topic. So last week, we explored the wondrous world of birds. This week, we're getting familiar with bugs, and as a sneak peek, next week, we will be exploring beyond our Earth and into the solar system. For most of the badges, you'll be asked to complete 2 activities, which may take as little as 15 minutes each. We try to be really conscious when picking these activities, so they don't require you to leave your yard, and they should not require you to have to go buy anything from the store. They include an exploration or learning activity, like the game Meet a Tree. It's the picture on your left. Pretty fun, kids tend to really like it. Or rolling logs, which is what they're doing in the picture on the right. And then there's a creative activity, such as writing a poem or building a bug hotel. You can start the challenge whenever you want, but it ends on June 7th. Some other options are other conservancies or AZA accredited organizations, which is the Association of Zoos and Aquariums. They all have something online, whether it's just other websites and resources, or maybe they're even doing like live streams of their own programs. But I hope that gives you a better idea of what you can do with TLC and at home. That's all.
Thank you, Elicia. If you have any questions for Elicia, please enter them in the Q&A box now. We will answer them at the end of everyone's presentations. Next, we have Marty Jorgensen, Program Director from Schoolhouse of Wonder. Marty grew up in Casper, Wyoming, and spent her childhood rambling around, snowshoeing, and climbing trees on her family's land on Casper Mountain. Inspired by her time outdoors, she decided to follow her passion for being outside and graduated from Green Mountain College with a degree in adventure recreation. Marty worked for a number of summer camps and outdoor organizations before bringing that experience to Schoolhouse of Wonder. She began her time at Schoolhouse helping start our Orange County location and managed that location for several years before becoming the program director. In her free time, she likes to grow food, play ukulele, make inventions, and generally goof around. Welcome, Marty. The floor is now yours.
Thank you, Deja, and thank you all for coming. I'd also like to thank Triangle Lane Conservancy staff who've been working really hard, not only on this presentation, but on this whole series. I think it's a wonderful way to reach out and help people stay connected to nature in ways that maybe they aren't sure about or they don't know about. I work for Schoolhouse of Wonder, a nonprofit operating in the Triangle since 1989. We celebrated our 30th anniversary last October, which was pretty exciting. We run outdoor nature-based programming for kids and teens in Orange, Wake, and Durham County. This is me. I'm program director now. I started as the site manager at our Orange County location, which, as Deja said, is at Brumley Forest in Orange County. I have a pretty unique perspective on Brumley Forest because I've been lucky enough to be involved in programs there for about 4 years. And that means that I have been able to be out there every day of the summer and a lot of the spring and fall season. So I'm happy to share that Brumley Forest is one of my favorite places to hike around. The mission of Schoolhouse of Wonder is to create kind, curious, and confident kids through nature-based outdoor activities. And this mission has been something we've been really reflecting on because, as many of you can imagine, our programs have also been impacted, and we're really looking for ways to meet our mission in new ways. We have 3 main program areas. One of them is field trips. We serve about 3,000 to 5,000 field trip participants, usually elementary school age kids from all over this section of North Carolina. We have environmental education themed programs and cultural history themed programs. As you can imagine, no schools also means no field trips. We have our camp program. We run single day and week-long camps at all 3 of those counties all year round. So summer's obviously our biggest season, and that's something that we're working hard to keep kids engaged in as they're out of school this spring, and also maybe having their summer be a little bit in flux as well. With this new situation, we were inspired to look at new programming. Like I said, how can we meet that mission in a new way in this new time? And so we were reflecting on what is the goal? What is the point of our programs beyond our mission statement? And of course, that's important to create kind, curious, and confident kids. But we also know that camp and being outside for kids is an incredible opportunity for physical, emotional, and social development, for taking risks and learning decision-making, for building friendships and building community. And looking at all these factors, we have been really inspired to try to meet these as best we can while we're not able to have in-person programs. Here we can see some campers meeting a little baby snapping turtle that came out of Stony Creek in Brumley Forest. And I thought it was a great way to capture the amazement and wonder that can happen in nature for kids and adults. Being outside is such a wonderful way to see things you've never seen before, see what you do know and see what you don't know. You see new things all the time. And so we really wanted to think about how we could foster that sense of curiosity and wonder, even if kids can't come to our programs. Like many organizations in educational schools and camps and all sorts of places, our programs really rely on the magic of having kids together. And so we have been thinking really hard and working really hard to figure out what do we do if we can't run our programs in that same way. So we thought we have a mindset that's similar to what we encourage the kids to think about, that growth happens when you try new things, and when you first try something new, you might not be very good at it. We're not an educational technology company by any means. Our small nonprofit does not even have an IT department. So the idea of using technology to as a major part of new programming definitely seems a little intimidating, but we also see it as a major resource in a way that we can reach out to our families and campers and other stakeholders to help them and encourage them to connect with nature at a time where it certainly feels easier to stay inside your house. In the next couple weeks, we're rolling out a new program, which we're calling Schoolhouse at Your House, which is week-long programs to encourage all of our campers and families to get outside, and it's full of tons of missions, scavenger hunts, activities, with the main goal of getting kids outside as much as we can, and also letting them connect with each other in the best way that we found. Kids need to be outside. It's so important for their development, and you can hear so many science-based reasons that being outside is good for your physical health, your mental health, which is something that we're all worried about right now. And so our big goal is to help people and encourage people to be outside, kids and adults too. So one way we encourage our families and people to get outside is just be in your neighborhood, be in your yard, be in a park. Hopefully we all have access to a little bit of space, whether it's in an urban environment or a suburban environment. Our first tip is to make it routine. We want people to do it every day and get outside, whether it's a walk or a family bike or going on a little scooter ride. If you make it part of your day every day, you will look back at the end of the week and think, man, I spent 7 hours outside and I didn't even really have to try. We also want to encourage people to get to know your neighborhood in a new way. There is so much amazing nature right around us that we often don't think about because we aren't in a beautiful forest preserve, and we might not notice it as well. There are incredible insects and plants and birds right outside your window, right in your neighborhood, and we are encouraging people to get to know your neighborhood deeply. By the end of your time staying at home, you could know every plant or every tree in your neighborhood, and that would be a pretty incredible accomplishment. We also want to help and encourage folks to continue giving their children experiences to grow that independence and grow that confidence. In our programs, we focus a lot on giving kids time of unstructured and imaginative play, where they're not playing a set game, they're not doing a set activity, they have the space and freedom and creativity to make up their own games or make up their own activities. And what we found is a lot of kids right now are facing a counterintuitive, more structured day than maybe they were a couple months ago, with online classes, online school, online dance classes, balancing their parents working from home or the parents not working from home. And so we want to encourage people to recognize that, and maybe as a parent, push yourself a little and help your kid maybe feel like they have a little less supervision. Even if they're still being supervised very carefully, you can still let them feel like a little bit more independence, because that's a really important piece of our programs that we want to encourage people to work on at home as well. And one last part of being in your neighborhood is similar to that community science piece, is we are spending more time at our houses than maybe we ever have, more time walking in our neighborhoods. And by having those experiences over a long period of time, we're in a really powerful place to recognize those small changes in nature day by day or week by week. And if you go on the same walk every day, you might notice when that tree finally has flowers or when the flowers finally bloom. And that is a great way and a great opportunity to connect with some citizen science or community science portals. There's projects on almost anything you can think that you would like to track. Ants, caterpillars, birds, fungi. There's projects for almost anything. And so we'll share some links with you about different science opportunities, but it is kind of fun to see the same area over and over and over and notice those small changes. So these are a few ways you can we encourage people to get outside even in your own neighborhood. We also want to encourage people to have a little bit bigger adventures and go outside and go somewhere new, go somewhere outside of your neighborhood. Triangle Land Conservancy properties are an awesome resource. I could not speak more highly of my time at Brumley Forest. We want to encourage people to get out. I've been to Brumley Forest a bunch of times. There are places that I haven't been. So this is also a good time to try something new, go on a new adventure. A common and fun thing you'll hear about tonight is rolling logs, and it's fun to see what's underneath them. My tips for rolling logs safely are to look around to make sure you don't see anything like poison ivy or yellow jackets. Make sure you roll it towards yourself so that if there's anything underneath it that would like to escape away from you, it will go away and not toward you. And then watch your fingers and toes. And then if you do find any creatures, some worms, some beetle larvae or anything like that, go ahead and roll the log back over and put any critters down next to the log so you don't accidentally crush them. We want to encourage unstructured play. It might take a little bit of encouragement to get over the I'm bored factor, because this is a skill that some kids don't use very often. But after they get over that initial hesitation, it can be a really powerful experience for them. So let them go, make some boundaries and say, you need to be able to see me, or you need to be able to see this backpack pile, and let them loose. You can build forts, big forts, tiny fairy houses, toad abodes. We'll send some resources about how to do all those as well. You can go on a nature scavenger hunt. There's dozens available online. You can write or draw in a field journal. There's so many activities that you can do, including just being outside and enjoying it as a different view and a different experience than just being at your house. So we're also encouraging people to be intentional and go on these bigger adventures, even if it, again, feels harder than staying inside your house. These are some of our favorite resources, and we'll share some links to all of these in an email coming up. But if you're looking for resources of how to, what to do, what activities to do, if you're feeling nervous about going out in nature right now, or nervous about taking kids out there, these resources have some really powerful and helpful, informative information for adults and kids about being outside. And my closing message is that nature is resilient, and so are we. Nature is out there right now. All the animals are still out there right now. All the plants are out there right now. And that's a really awesome resource at this time. Get outside, be safe about it, follow social distancing, but it's, we're encouraging everyone to be outside as much as we can. Thank you.
Thank you, Marty. If you have any questions for Marty, please enter them in the chat box now. We will be entering all questions at the end of the presentations. Our final presenter is Wendy Banning, who is co-founder and executive director of Learning Outside. In addition to her leadership role as director and her work mentoring teachers, developing curriculum and new programs, and writing grants, her feet hit the trail daily. With children as a teacher and Learning Outside's programs, Wendy has over 40 years of experience in education as a public school classroom teacher, an outdoor learning consultant, and teacher trainer, and as a director of 2 educational nonprofits, Community Independent School and Learning Outside. Welcome, Wendy. The floor is yours.
Who's listening, for this chance for all of us to come together and to share what TLC, Schoolhouse of Wonder, and Learning Outside are doing to be responsive and to support our community during this time of social distancing, and to share how we're trying to fill the hole this interruption to life as usual has created for children and for parents who have lost the daily routines and their mooring provided by school and by work. And also to share ideas activities, experiences, and resources that families can access to stay active, to experience joy, to pursue the magic of discovery and learning, and to do it all from home by connecting with the natural world, whether that's in their own backyards, that nearby woodsy space they like to explore, or by visiting one of TLC's many preserves. I'd like to start with an overview of Learning Outside's work to connect children with the natural world. Learning Outside began in 2009, and all of its programs are cited on Triangle Land Conservancy's Urban Nature Preserve, 269 acres of protected land, beautiful protected land, that has diverse ecosystems for children to explore and to learn from. Learning Outside's mission. Well, our mission is to provide children with outdoor experiences that enhance their lives and their learning, that instill a love of the natural world, and that promote lifelong stewardship. Key to our mission is serving individuals who do not have ready access to quality outdoor learning experiences. In our programs, we work to respond to and to plan for children for who they really are, and how children, as children, choose to explore the world around them and work to understand its mysteries. And what we all know about children is that, number one, children are curious. They notice things. They want to linger with them. They want to explore them and see what's really going on. They're full of questions, and they're full of desire to just unscramble how everything works. Children also want to be happy. They want to feel successful and to actualize their very best selves. Children are also adventurous, but they're actively adventurous, and they learn so much through their play, as Marty alluded to earlier, and through just hands-on play. So it's that creative, imaginative play where everything sort of comes together for them, where they're working with loose parts in nature, making discoveries, noticing things, where a stick can be not just a stick, but it can also be a wand, it can be this, it can be that. Their play is part of what nurtures this larger capacity for inventiveness, for ingenuity, all qualities that we want to sustain in children and that they'll use lifelong. And children want to feel capable. They really need and want opportunities to stretch themselves, to try new things, to take risks, and to master new challenges. It is by observing children really closely in nature that you see just how sophisticated their engagement is the whole time. And by responding to their interests and their needs and building on those, we can all foster and nurture their connection with the natural world and grow their love affair with nature. And that love affair is critical. It's essential in order for today's children to be healthy and wholly engaged with the world around them. And it's also essential in order for today's children to grow into their roles as tomorrow's conservationists, into adults who will continue to return to nature as their absolute go-to place for refueling, for rejuvenation, for enjoyment, for fun, and who will remain committed to preserving and protecting all of our natural spaces lifelong. Learning Outside works to grow this relationship between children of all ages and nature through programs that we offer every day, year-round, all of which are set entirely outdoors, no matter what the weather. And while this is a nice cold day, you can imagine that we're also out there when it's pouring rain or incredibly windy. Children get to experience all of the different ways nature manifests. We have school year programs, and we also have summer camps. And our school year programs include a forest kindergarten for 3 to 5-year-olds, and those youngsters meet every morning, Monday through Friday. We also have a forest school, and that program serves youngsters who are 6 to 9 years old, and it meets every afternoon. And then we also have after-school nature clubs, and they meet later in the afternoon after schools are out, each of which serves a different age range each day. And we have summer camps, full-day, week-long summer camps, and that start from the moment school lets out in June, and that continue right up until school resumes in late August or September. Each camp is theme-based, includes themes such as archery or wildcraft or outdoor skills, and each serves a different age range, but the camps overall serve 5 through 14-year-olds. In addition, Learning Outside offers a leadership program for high school students through our Eco Crew, which meets throughout the school year. And those students work at the site and they get their service learning hours, but there's also a leadership component. They're given projects to complete, to lead, etc. And then many of those Eco Crew members go on to serve or to complete internships that we offer throughout the summer in our summer camp program, in which they receive mentoring from seasoned instructors, learn more about outdoor learning, etc. So right now, just like TLC's environmental education programs and Schoolhouse of Wonders programs and field trips, all of Learning Outside's programs, which involve being in groups together, outdoors in nature, are interrupted. As of March 16th, the precious ongoing in-person connection we had each and every day with all of the children in our programs and with their families was interrupted. So what support can we provide that helps us continue to realize our mission during this time? Learning Outside's instructors and staff jumped into action to explore how we could deliver our mission and experiences in nature and ways we could keep our youngsters and our community, our Learning Outside community, meaningfully connected, and ways that we could support our parents immediately. And in order to remain present daily for our families, required that we not only jump into action as we had, but also that we be willing to jump into a new and very unfamiliar world, the world of technology. For those of us who are used to always having, being outdoors and always having our feet on the trail and feeling the solid earth beneath them and having the trees and sky above our heads, technology is really a huge leap. And we've made it. I'm not a tech expert, but we certainly are using technology to do an awful lot of things right now that keep us all connected. Learning Outside has used a multi-pronged approach in our work to remain present and kid accessible and supportive to our families. Our first initiative started the day our in-person programs were interrupted, and each day since we mail our families an outdoor activity that they can do at home. And then we invite them to share their experiences with each activity back with us, either by photo, by video, email, or text, and we respond to each of those. This has created opportunities for children to interact directly with us, to ask us questions, to get feedback from us, to tell us what they enjoyed and what they discovered or what they learned. We've also been sending videos of our instructors either feeding the chickens or feeding forage to the goats, or in the learning garden showing the progress of seedlings that the youngsters planted before in-person programs were interrupted. And we've also sent videos of our favorite songs so youngsters can sing along with us as well as in person. And then we've sent step-by-step direction videos for some of our nature-based activities that we send home each day. And we've also used videos to reach individual children with birthday messages or to respond to their questions. And we've also been very present for individual parents as they navigated this new terrain in trying to provide personalized support. All of the daily activities we've been providing, which we call Today's Idea, are all posted on our website, on our blog, and available to everyone. But I thought I would share a few of them to end here. Tree faces using native clay. Native clay is in abundance in North Carolina, and a great tool for doing all sorts of things, from pinch pots to creating a face on the side of a tree that children can then continue to observe as weather or rain and other factors cause it to disintegrate. And children are endlessly creative when it comes to creating tree faces using nature's parts. We've sent home scavenger hunts, color scavenger hunts and others for children to complete with their families. We've encouraged nature journaling, and sit spots where children choose a particular spot that they want to visit and continue to visit each day and draw what they see, or just listen to the birds, or listen for critters, or just stay so still that they are lucky enough to see a box turtle walk by. Lots and lots of inventive things can be done with leaves. This is leaf stitching or leaf pounding using a hammer and leaves and muslin, or leaf prints using paint and cloth and making prints of different leaves. There's also just the imaginative work that children do just naturally if they're outdoors, if you just sort of let them, or if you play along with them, such as creating critters using natural materials, butterflies, birds, etc., or the face of a mammal, or I think this was a coyote. And then, as Marty also alluded to, Ferry House building and fort building, both of which are just incredible favorites for all children. And then there's just exploring and climbing. There's listening. There's walking the same trail and looking for new things, noticing mushrooms, stopping and reflecting on what you're seeing together. All of the activities we've been sending out are posted on our website. On the homepage, you can just visit the blog or click on the button that says visit our blog, and you'll have all the activities going back to when programs were interrupted. And there are lots of great activities, and you can pick and choose the ones that are the best fit for you during this time when life is not as usual, but nature is showing up for us every single day with magic and opportunities for us to feel whole and to feel steady through the storm. Thank you.
Thank you, Wendy, and thank you also, Elicia and Marty, for those dynamic presentations. We will now be taking your questions. So one, Wendy, since you just finished, does Learning Outside have plans to offer their programs in other areas of the Triangle?
Currently, we're committed to offering our programs at Irvin Nature Preserve. We've grown so much over the years. Learning Outside started as a summer camp pilot with just 60 youngsters. Now each year we serve 600. So right now we haven't planned to expand our programs to other areas, although we do talk about it and think about it.
Awesome, thank you. So I've gotten a couple of questions about resources for older kids and high school kids. Can you guys explain if you guys have any programs that are available? Marty, maybe we can start with you.
Sure. Most of our participants are not teenagers, but like I said, we do have a leadership training program that's for teenagers going up to about 17 or 18 in high school. And I did see a side question about resources that are being, will resources be shared? And they will be, and I'll let Deja speak to that in a little bit. All of these activities, I would encourage for younger kids and high school kids and adults, even though high school kids maybe are a demographic that may need the most encouragement. to get out of the house or get outside, but also might be one of the demographics that would benefit the most. So a lot of these citizen science programs can be as challenging or basic as you want them to be, depending on your age. So that's what I would say for teenagers. I'd really encourage them to get outside as much as they can and really get into some of this more advanced citizen science programming.
As Marty mentioned, we will be sending out tomorrow a list of all these resources that our wonderful presenters have mentioned and brought up, and we'll compile a nice list for everyone to check out later. Elicia or Wendy, do you have anything that you want to add for older aged kids and kids at heart?
Yeah.
I don't have anything that I'm currently offering, but I can point you to a few different resources. The first being the North Carolina Museum of Science has a whole page on their website currently. It's under Science at Home, and it's for teens and adults, and it's a huge list of things that you can do for that age range. The second is the North Carolina Environmental Education Listserv. Sends out emails of events, and a lot of these are webinars and live lectures that may appeal to older kids or adults. And then the final thing is that NC State, if you have any bakers at home, is doing a lecture series on fungi, especially as it relates to bread and sourdough. So that would be my recommendation.
Did you want me to say anything?
If you have anything.
Sure. In my experience, and having worked with kids of all ages and worked with a lot of teenagers, I think we underestimate their playful spirits because they love to play. They love the challenge of play. And there are all sorts of different ways they engage with play and with sort of nature-based challenges that we've used that I would be happy to share if someone wanted to contact me personally. But the other thing is to remember is that they love to plan bigger projects. So, for example, Marty alluded to take those bigger adventures. Well, have your teenager plan everything that you're going to need to do a camp out in your backyard or to do a camp out somewhere that would be safe to camp out, and give them the responsibility and the autonomy and the opportunity to actually plan a project start to finish. Or a larger building project like building a tree house is a huge one that involves a ton of design, a ton of planning, figuring out the materials. So there are all these creative ways that you can keep teenagers active and give them larger bodies of work that they can sink their teeth into that involve being outdoors and connecting with themselves and with nature and with their abilities.
Thank you. Elicia, this question is for you. What is your favorite experience as an AmeriCorps member?
Yeah, that's tough to pinpoint just one. I think this whole experience has been really incredible, and there have been so many opportunities where I've been like challenged and able to grow. So it's hard to pick just one. But going in line with everything I've loved about my other jobs is just seeing people get excited and see them grow and change and get more comfortable in nature. So for example, the Brentwood Boys and Girls Club, I go to them a lot to do programs, and when I walk in the door, there are like kids coming up and asking like, what age range is the program going to be for, and like just really excited to get involved, and that's always pretty rewarding.
Thank you. So how best can people support your programs?
Do you want me to start?
Yeah, you can start.
Okay. I would say just keeping up with what we're doing, sharing it with anyone who they think might be interested, and of course, just coming to a program that interests you would be the best way to support us.
Marty?
I would say the best way for people to support our organization is to have patience and know that we, like many organizations, are working our hardest to figure things out, and it hasn't always gone as smoothly as we would have hoped. But we are working hard to meet our mission, and we're excited about what we're creating and what we're planning for the future.
How about you, Wendy?
We've been so fortunate in the support that we've received from our families during what I call Program Interruptus. Our families are incredible, and so just I want to affirm that as being sort of a vital support. And our instructors have been just amazing in rallying and retooling and thinking and coming together in all the different ways we can to figure this out. Like Marty, I think that for everyone, there's a part of this, I think we're all resilient, but we have to remind ourselves that we are, and call on our patience. Because it's a difficult time for everyone, and when people are in difficult times, it's harder for them to be patient, but it does require that. So much of learning outside success in sort of reaching so many different parts of our community has been word of mouth. Most everyone who shows up for one of our programs comes because they've heard about us through someone else who attended a prior program. But our donors and that support and those enrollments, all those things are what make us know that we're doing the right work, that we're meeting the need. But I think all of us as human beings right now, we need to stay engaged and just stay resilient and patient, and reach out to local nonprofits that are doing the work that you most believe in, and help them get through this.
Thank you. I would also like to add for TLC, if you aren't already a member, now is a perfect time for you to become a member. That's a great way to get a lot of information about what we're doing and all the exciting programs that we have coming up and going on. So we have time for a couple more questions. This is for Elicia. How does environmental education programming help strengthen TLC's conservation work?
Sorry, my dog's about to bark. Yeah, so I think environmental education helps the conservation work in a variety of ways. The most prominent way being that it is connecting people with nature. It's creating an awareness and an understanding, as well as comfort. I am a big believer that you really can't know what you're like. Well, I'm not really sure how to say it right now, but basically that like if you have these great experiences in nature, you'll be more active in helping conserve it. So that's how it helps.
Thank you. I have another question. Are all TLC preserves still open? And that answer I can answer is yes, they are all open. I will say if it's a big rain, check TLC's Facebook page because the Brumley South trails may be closed. And that would be a good place to check for that. And then we have a comment that I hope you don't mind sharing. I won't say your name, but this person wrote that this is their first TLC webinar. And thank you for all your expertise and assistance during this challenging time. I grew up spending lots of time outside and still feel peaceful in nature and believe it is so important. You are all so valuable. Thanks. That is the stuff that, at least for me, I can't speak for everyone, but that's what got me and has kept me here working at Triangle Land Conservancy and working with awesome partners like Learning Outside and Schoolhouse of Wonder. But thanks again to our wonderful presenters. As I said before, we will be linking all resources to the thank you email, and the presentation will soon be available on our website. We welcome you to learn more about how you can connect with nature by visiting our website to find maps and details for our nature preserves, as well as sign up for the hiking challenge, Triangle Explorer, and more. Join us next week on April 22nd for Conservation Conversations, Nature Needs TLC, in honor of TLC's Giving Day and the 50th anniversary of Earth Day. Executive Director Sandy Schweitzer will be talking with board members about what inspired their passion for conservation and why they chose to support TLC. Our work is possible thanks to the support of generous members like you. Help us unlock a $25,000 match by midnight, raising $50,000 for Earth Day's 50th anniversary. We will begin our program at 5 after the hour. In the meantime, thanks again for coming out and listening to us. Please feel free, once when the link is up, share with all your friends. Thank you again.